by speed post, send a PIN number by another speed post. All those things will go away. Anyone with a phone can now use that as a card, because we're going to have 900 million people with cards in their pocket, which they use anyway. But the other thing which is going to happen is the Aadhaar authentication, which allows you to authenticate your biometric on the phone. Right? So I can do, like, if you look at your Apple phone, there's something called iTouch. I touch the iPhone and then you can do Apple Pay. But that's a product of one company. What we have in India is an open platform for any vendor to use the Aadhaar authentication using biometric to do a who you are authentication on the same device which you have in your pocket. That will cost, the incremental cost to add an iris camera to a smartphone is less than $5. And in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to have mass market phones with iris authentication, which means you will have in your pocket a device that does single click, two-factor authentication in real time. Nowhere else you have this. I'm just trying to paint the whole picture because, you know, you have to think about all the issues. Now, already these phones have come, and NTT Docomo has launched the first smartphone using iris authentication in Japan. And we are currently having tests being done. I'd like to request my friends Pramod and Vivek, you're coming, to demo live a phone which does iris authentication with Aadhaar, and for which you can do single click, two-factor. Yeah. You'll come in the middle, Vivek. These are all the gurus behind all this. I just do the talking.
And this is a phone with iris. So it's going to turn on. So this is live, right from the server.
So you have the world's largest KYC system live today with 900 million people can do an online authentication, online KYC, and in 6 to 9 months, your phone will do it for you. You'll have two-factor single-click authentication at scale for anyone to use. Then we have the whole push from the government. The Prime Minister's favorite program is the Jan Dhan Yojana program with the goal of giving everybody a bank account. We have 17 crore or 170 million bank accounts. Everyone will have a bank account by 2020, and all these payment banks will accelerate the issue of bank accounts. So you're going to have universality of bank accounts. In other words, think of a world, billion people have Aadhaar, billion people have bank accounts, billion people have mobiles. Now, the only scalable way to think about payment infrastructure is going to be the smartphone. You will see that whereas debit cards are growing at 54%, ATMs are only growing at 30%. When credit cards are growing at 15%, POS machines are going only at 10%. Because the classic hardware of POS machines is a very slow process. The bank has to go, the merchant, I think my friend Sanjay Swami will tell you all the problems of setting up the network. And the number of consumers coming on board is going to be much faster than the ability of the system to have acquiring points using the old way of using POS machines. So fundamentally, we believe that smartphones will replace physical cards as the issuing device. In other words, in your hand you have a phone instead of a card, and smartphones will replace POS machines as the acquiring device. In other words, the merchant will also have a phone and not a device. So you are going to have both at both ends. Now, and then there is the whole NPCI is rolling out something called the Unified Payments Interface. Now again, NPCI is one of the crown jewels of India. They've built the NACH, which does the clearing. They've built IMPS, that does online payments. They've built Aadhaar payment bridge, that does LPG transfer. They built the AEPS, which does micro ATM authentication for withdrawals. And now they built something, again, with the help of iSpirit and others, called Unified Payment Interface. And why this is important, and why this is important in the context of payment banks, is that when you think of the way wallets and payment banks are operating today, essentially they're digitizing a person-to-merchant transaction, right? So when our friend, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma finally lands up, Paytm already has 100 million wallets, and if Paytm is used, say, in Uber. So whenever I use Uber, I just have to get my Paytm wallet charged, and I pay from Paytm. Similarly, Ola will have their own wallet, and Flipkart will have, and Amazon will have. Those are called P2M payments, person-to-merchant payments. It works because as long as I get my wallet once, for any transaction with that merchant, I can use the wallet. However, it does not work for P2P. In other words, if I want to give Sanjay some money, if I have a Paytm wallet and he has an HDFC chiller wallet, I can't transact. It's as if I had a Vodafone phone and he had an Airtel phone. I can't talk to him because we are not on the same network. What UPI does is allows any wallet to any wallet transaction. It's a universal unified payment interface for interoperability among different bank accounts and wallets. So think about it. Now if I meet Sanjay, I want to transfer Sanjay 100 rupees. I just click on my phone and send 100 rupees from my HDFC chiller wallet to his Paytm wallet. So the moment you can create an interoperable system where anybody I meet with a wallet, I can do a transaction, that lays the foundation for P2P transactions. So what you're going to see, and this thing is being launched this year. By December, we'll have at least 5 or 6 rollouts of this product. NPCI is doing it. I'm an advisor. Pramod is here. We're all helping on this. And this will allow P2P payments to happen. Now think about it. What does that mean for P2P payments? Because one thing we know is that when you want to migrate an economy from physical cash to digital cash, you need the ability for them to convert physical to digital and digital to physical cash. Because when I have cash, I want the confidence that any time of the day or night, I can take money out of my wallet and get physical money out of it. I'll need that comfort for a long time. So what's going to happen here? Think about it. We have 125,000 branches. We should go to 150,000 by 2020. ATMs may go from 180,000 to 270,000. POS machines may grow from 1.1 million to 1.5 million. BCs may grow from 400,000 to 3 million. Retail outlets may be 15 million. But everyone is a BC now. Everyone is a cash out point. So just like if I run out of change, I can ask my friend to give me change. If I run out of cash, I can talk to my neighbor and say, look, I'll give you a digital transfer into your account of 100 rupees. You may give me cash of 100 rupees. Everyone is now an ATM. 1 billion people are operating an ATM. Sorry, Sanjay, I don't know what it means for your companies. What? No, but people have to first get comfort with cash. See, I must get the comfort that whenever I want physical cash, I can remove it. Once I'm used to it, then I agree, it'll all be digital. But anyway, we need that transition point. So fundamentally, if every human being, everyone with a phone is now an ATM, what does that mean? It changes everything. Why do we have to think about how many ATMs, get location, get security guard, put CCTV camera, all that gone. You're reimagining the whole infrastructure. The first is Aadhaar authentication. They showed you the demo of how I can do an authentication on a phone. I can use that for verification of an ID. Second is the eKYC, which I can use to open a bank account or a credit card. The third is e-sign. Again, Pramod and all, I worked with Ramsevak Sharma. E-sign is a digital certificate using Aadhaar. So suppose I'm filling a form, I just have to use the Aadhaar and do a digital signing and send it across. So there's no paperwork. The fourth is the digital locker, which allows me to create a completely paperless, non-repudiatable, fully signed, encrypted infrastructure for storing documents. So everything can go on the cloud. You know, it could be a health record, could be a financial record, could be an educational record. And then I talked about the UPI. All these are ready for prime time. They're being used right now. There are applications right now. For example, income tax uses the e-sign to make sure that you don't have to send a physical printed thing. So they're all layered and open, and this will lead to an explosion of innovation at scale and speed. 5 platforms that exist today. Now, what does that mean for data? So we will go from being data poor to data rich in 5 years. In other words, we're a very data poor country because nobody's online, nobody's on the grid. But if 1 billion people are online with Aadhaar, 1 billion people are online with payment instruments, 1 billion people are online with mobile phones, you're going to have such a tsunami of digital exhaust that you can transform the way you think. So, for example, payments will give you this thing. Today, for example, you can go to a thing called Traces, right, Adil? You can go to Traces, which is run by the CBDT, and by the consumer consent, I can get the tax data source of the person. So that if I'm applying for a loan, I can say, look at my tax TDS, I pay a lot of tax. Or you can get social media activity, you can look at PAN verification. On the business side, you can look at POS exhaust. You can look at e-commerce platforms, you can look at so much. GSTN is going to provide APIs on taxes paid by companies. MCA 21 is going to give you data on filings. So suddenly you're gone from a data poor to a data rich world in 5 years, both on the consumer side and on the business side. And that, coupled with sophisticated algorithms, which are going to get better and better, will suddenly change the way you do credit, for example. So in one shot, 1 billion consumers and 50 million enterprises can start getting credit using data. They don't have to go fill form, all that gone. So fundamentally, we'll talk about that, Adil, when we're in the platform. So you're going to go from data poor to data rich in 5 years, both on the consumer side and on the enterprise side. Now, therefore, when you think about the bank, we think about bank and all this stuff. What do we have? Identity through a debit card. We have paper-based signature. We have a documentation, submit some documents, so many sheets of paper. You have, all kinds of processes. You have a credit officer who decides what you should get. You use cash, use an ATM. Every one of these functions of the bank in the next 5 years is on the phone. Every one of them. So I can do my authentication with Aadhaar, I can do my KYC with Aadhaar, I can do my digital signature with Aadhaar, I can keep it in a digital locker, I can use mobile payments. Algorithms will decide if I'm eligible for a loan at what interest rate. I'll use mobile consumer. Everything, the bank is in your mobile phone. Anything that a bank does, I can do on the phone today. Think about it. And think about 11 guys with licenses. So what does that mean? We think that these regulations that have been announced last week will bring in new players with diverse backgrounds. You have Dilip Sangvi, whose expertise is in running pharmacies.